Scheherazade Stories. Tonight's story is about watching and being watched. The first message arrived at 6:43 a.m. I remember the time because it was the moment my alarm was supposed to go off. Instead of the usual harsh beep, my phone vibrated softly, once, like someone trying not to wake me too suddenly. Half asleep, I reached for it and saw a new notification. Unknown contact. Message preview. Don't get on the bus today, please. I frowned at the screen. It was too early for pranks, too specific to ignore. I unlocked the phone. Don't get on the bus today, please. You. I stared at the last two words. You. That's not funny, I muttered, though there was no one in my apartment to hear it. I checked the number. No number. Just a blank contact, like the system didn't know where it came from. My first thought was that I'd somehow scheduled a reminder and forgotten. But I never wrote messages like that, and I definitely didn't sign them. Still, I dismissed it. I was tired. I'd gone to bed late. My brain was reaching for meaning where there was none. I showered, dressed, made coffee. The message stayed in the back of my mind, like a loose thread. At 7:22, as I was putting on my jacket, my phone vibrated again. Same contact. If you get on the bus, you won't make it to work. I'm not joking. My stomach tightened. I typed back before I could stop myself. Who is this? The typing indicator appeared instantly, then disappeared. Then a reply. It's you. Just later. I laughed out loud. Okay, I said to the empty room. Sure. I typed, very funny, wrong number. 3 dots appeared again. Check your left wrist. I froze. Slowly, I turned my arm. On the inside of my left wrist was a thin scar, pale and curved. I'd gotten it years ago while cooking, barely remembered it. The next message arrived. You cut yourself making pasta. You were 20. You didn't tell anyone. My throat went dry. No one knew that story, not even my family. I typed with shaking fingers. Stop this. Who are you really? The reply came slower this time. I'm the version of you who listened too late. A chill ran through me. I looked at the clock. 7:31. If I hurried, I'd catch the 7:38 bus, the same one I took every weekday. I grabbed my bag, then hesitated. The messages felt ridiculous, impossible, and yet, my phone vibrated. Please, just walk today. You'll understand tonight. I stood there, heart pounding, staring at the door. If I didn't take the bus, I'd be late. It was a long walk. But suddenly, being late felt like the smallest problem in the world. Fine, I whispered. I'll walk. I slipped on my shoes and left. It was colder than usual. Gray clouds hung low, threatening rain. The streets were busy, people rushing past with headphones in, faces closed off. I kept checking my phone. Nothing. Part of me expected another message with more strange details, another impossible proof, but the screen stayed dark. Halfway to work, as I waited at a crosswalk, I heard a loud screech in the distance, then a deep, echoing bang. People around me gasped. Someone shouted, "Oh my God!" A moment later, sirens wailed. I turned toward the sound. Black smoke rose above the streets several blocks away. My heart started to race. I pulled out my phone and opened the news. The headline appeared seconds later. Bus crash downtown. Multiple injuries reported. The photo showed a blue bus crushed at the front, emergency lights flashing around it. My bus. The 738. My knees weakened. I leaned against a pole, breathing hard, as the meaning hit me all at once. If I'd taken it. My phone vibrated. A new message. You see? That was the easy one. I swallowed, fingers trembling. That was you? I typed. You saved me? The reply came almost immediately. No, I borrowed time. Saving comes later. A cold knot formed in my stomach. What does that mean? 3 dots appeared. Then, it means now you owe yourself a chance to do better, and I'm going to help you, whether you like it or not. I stared at the words, my reflection faint in the dark screen. Help me how? I typed. There was a pause, longer than before. Then, by making sure you don't repeat my life, starting with tonight. My heart pounded. What happens tonight? The reply was short, too short. You meet me. I tried to work after that. I really did. I walked into the office with my coat still damp from the cold air and my hands still shaking from what I'd seen on the news. People were talking about the crash in the break room, voices tight with the kind of concern that's half sympathy, half relief that it wasn't them. Did you see it? Someone asked. It was right by Grand Street. I heard it was bad, another person said, scrolling. I nodded at the right moments, smiled when I was supposed to, answered emails like my brain hadn't just been shoved into a new reality. But the whole day, I kept feeling my phone in my pocket, like it wasn't just a device anymore, like it was a mouth. At lunch, I sat alone at my desk and stared at the blank note app on my screen. I typed a sentence, deleted it, typed again. If someone saved me from dying on a bus, if that someone said it was me, then the obvious question wasn't how. The obvious question was, why wasn't I saving myself more often? Because later me said something that stuck like a splinter. That was the easy one. Easy, meaning there were harder ones, meaning there were things worse than a bus crash waiting for me in my timeline. I checked the clock every 10 minutes after 5 p.m. By 6, I couldn't pretend to concentrate anymore. I went home early, claiming a headache, which wasn't even a lie. My skull felt too tight for the thoughts it held. The sky was already dark when I reached my apartment building. The hallway smelt faintly of laundry detergent and old carpeting. Familiar, safe. I unlocked my door, stepped inside, and immediately froze. My living room light was on. I always turned it off before leaving. I stood very still, listening. No footsteps, no movement. Just the quiet hum of the refrigerator and the distant city noise through the window. I stepped in slowly, heart pounding, scanning corners like I expected someone to jump out. Nothing. On my coffee table, my laptop was open. The screen glowed with a blank document. One line had been typed. Don't panic. My throat went dry. I hadn't left my laptop open. I hadn't written that. My phone vibrated in my pocket like it had been waiting for me to notice. Unknown contact. You're home. Good. Lock the door. Sit down. I swallowed hard, then did exactly that. I locked the door, sat on the edge of the couch. My hands were shaking so badly I had to hold my phone with both. I typed, "How are you doing this? Are you in my apartment?" The typing dots appeared, then vanished. A reply appeared slowly, like the person on the other end was choosing each word carefully. "No, I'm not there. Not yet." "Not yet?" I typed. "What does that mean?" "It means you're about to become me, and that only happens if you keep doing what you always do." I stared at the screen, anger bubbling up through fear. "I don't always do anything. I don't even know you." The reply came fast. "You always minimize. You always delay. You always think you'll fix it later." My chest tightened because it was uncomfortably true. I typed, "Okay, then tell me what happens tonight. You said we meet." A pause. Then, "At 11:17 p.m., you will get a knock on your door. Do not open it. Do not speak. Turn off the lights. Go into the bathroom. Lock it. Take your phone. Wait for my next message. My heart sped up. Who knocks? I typed. The reply didn't come immediately. Then, someone who learned how to use your future. My mouth went dry. That didn't sound like a random threat. That sounded like a trap. I typed quickly. Is someone coming to hurt me? The reply appeared. Not to hurt you, to steer you. That's worse. I sat there staring at the phone, feeling the walls of my apartment close in. How is any of this possible? I whispered, though no one could answer. My phone vibrated again. You have 6 hours. If you want proof, open the top kitchen drawer. I swallowed and stood up, moving like my legs didn't quite belong to me. I walked into the kitchen and pulled open the top drawer, where I kept random things: scissors, tape, batteries, a small notepad I barely used. On top of the notepad lay a key, a silver key with a black plastic head. It looked old. I didn't own any keys like that. I picked it up with 2 fingers as if it might bite. My phone buzzed. That key fits a storage unit. Unit 312. Address, Eastfield Self-Storage. You rented it 3 years from now. Your name is on the contract. My stomach lurched. I don't have a storage unit, I typed. I do, and it has something you need, but you don't get it yet. I clenched the key in my fist. This is insane. My phone buzzed again, and this time my stomach dropped before I even read it. Don't call the police. You'll want to. You'll regret it. A cold sweat broke out on my back. How did it know what I was thinking? I typed. Then what do I do? You follow the instructions. Tonight you survive. Tomorrow you learn why you were chosen. Chosen by who? I typed. The reply took longer. Then, by the person who couldn't control me, so they built you instead. I stared at the words until they blurred. Built you, like I wasn't a person, like I was a project. My mind tried to make it sense. Someone in the future created a situation where future me had to send messages back, or someone else was sending messages pretending to be me. Either way, someone had access to my life in ways no one should, and someone was coming tonight. From 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., time felt thick. I turned on every light in my apartment at first, like brightness could protect me. Then I forced myself to stop. The instructions said to turn them off at 11:17, not before. I didn't want to trigger anything early. I ate nothing. I drank water because my mouth was dry. I checked the peephole twice. At 10:30 p.m., my phone buzzed again. If you hear your name through the door, do not answer. You'll want to, don't. My stomach dropped. I typed why? Because it can't imitate 2 voices at once. It only knows yours. Let it hear mine. My heart hammered. This could be a trick. This could be exactly what the thing wanted. But the messages had already saved me once. I turned my phone speaker on. The call started automatically. No dial tone, no number, just a soft click. Then a voice came through, low and quiet. Not my current voice, older, rougher, but undeniably me. Don't open, future me said, no matter what it says. Outside the bathroom door, my voice, the copy, went silent. For a full second, everything was quiet except my breathing. Then the copy laughed. It was still my voice, but the laugh was wrong, too smooth. Oh, it said softly, so you finally brought him into the room. A shiver went through me. Future me's voice tightened through the speaker. Back off. The copy chuckled. You don't get to give orders. You're only a recording with good timing. My stomach dropped. Recording? Future me's voice tightened. Listen to me. It's baiting you. Do not answer it. The copy continued, almost playful now. Tell her the truth. Tell her why you really sent the messages. Future me went silent. I stared at my phone, breath caught. What truth? I whispered before I could stop myself. Instantly, my stomach sunk. I'd spoken. I'd broken the instruction not to. The copy's tone softened, like it had been waiting for that. That, it said gently, was enough. The bathroom light flickered. Even though it was off, the air felt colder. My phone buzzed with a final message. It heard you. Now it knows where you are. And then, from the other side of the bathroom door, the lock clicked. Not from my hand, from the outside. Someone or something was unlocking my bathroom door. Future me's voice snapped through the speaker. "Get out through the window, now." My bathroom had a small window over the tub. I spun, scrambling towards it, fingers shaking as I tried to lift it. Outside, the night air pressed against the glass. The lock clicked again. The handle turned. The door began to open, and the copy of my voice whispered right as the gap widened. "Hello, me." The bathroom door moved, slowly, like whoever was opening it wanted me to see it happen. Like they wanted the anticipation more than the entry. I shoved the window up with shaking hands. Cold air slapped my face. The building's exterior fire escape was just outside, metal bars wet with mist. I didn't live on a high floor, but it was high enough to make my stomach flip when I looked down. Future me's voice crackled through the speaker, low and urgent. "Don't look at it. Don't negotiate. The copy feeds on attention." The door opened wider. In the gap, darkness stood like a person-shaped stain. I could see nothing clear, no face, no hands, but I felt the pressure of being watched. The copy spoke again, in my voice, close and soft. "You're going to hurt yourself climbing out. Let me help you." I didn't answer. I swung one leg over the tub, then the other, boots slipping on porcelain. My fingers found the window frame. I pulled myself up. Behind me, the copy sighed. "Of course, you always choose the hard way." The bathroom door swung open fully. The air in the room changed, like the oxygen had been replaced with cold water. I didn't look. I climbed. Metal scraped my palms as I dropped onto the fire escape. My foot slipped, caught, then steadied. I grabbed the railing and pulled myself upright. The city sounds hit me like a wave. A distant car, a faint siren, someone laughing somewhere below. Normal, real, but I didn't feel safe, not yet. Future me said, "Go down 2 floors, then cross to the next building. Don't use the stairs inside. It can follow through doors." "How do you know?" I whispered, voice shaking. A pause. Then, future me, quieter, because I didn't listen the first time. I started down the fire escape ladder, hands trembling. Every rung felt colder than it should. My breath came out in sharp bursts. As I reached the platform 1 floor below, my phone buzzed. Not a message, a sound, a soft click, like a camera shutter. I froze. Then my screen lit up with a photo of me, right now, climbing down the fire escape, taken from inside my bathroom window. My stomach dropped. The copy's message appeared under the photo. "You're doing great. I'm learning." I forced myself to keep moving. Down 1 more floor, then sideways across a narrow gap to the next building's platform. The metal was slick. My foot slipped and scraped hard against an edge. Pain shot up my shin. I bit back a cry. Future me's voice stayed steady. "Don't stop. Don't check the blood. It wants you to notice your body. It wants you inside your head." "I can't believe this is happening," I gasped. "I can, because you already survived it once. That's how I exist." That sentence hit me like a punch. "You said you're me," I whispered as I hurried along the platform. "But you just called me you, like we're different people." Silence on the line for a beat. Then, "We are different now. That's the point." I dropped onto the next building's stairwell landing through an unlocked window. My shoulders slammed against the frame, and pain flared down my arm, but I didn't stop. The stairwell smelled of dust and old paint. A single light buzzed overhead. My phone buzzed. Not a message, a language change. You think the window saved you. It didn't. It just gave me a better angle. My skin prickled. I ran down the stairs to the ground floor and pushed out into the street. Cold air, streetlights, a couple walking a dog. Normal. I wanted to scream. Instead, I walked fast, forcing myself to look calm. People noticed panic. Panic invited questions. Future me said, "Go to Eastfield Self-Storage, now." "That's across town," I said, breathless. "It has to be now, before the copy gets bored, before it changes tactics." "What's in the storage unit?" I asked. A pause. Then, proof and a weapon. "A weapon?" My voice cracked. "Not a gun, not violence, something else, something it hates." I swallowed hard and flagged a taxi. Inside, as the city moved past the windows in streaks of light, I tried to breathe. My phone buzzed again. A text from the copy. "You always take taxis when you're scared. Good choice. Less witnesses later." My hands shook so badly the phone almost slipped. Future me's voice tightened. "Don't read it. Don't give it the satisfaction." "It's in my phone. How is it even doing this?" Future me exhaled. "Because the copy isn't inside the phone. The phone is just where it talks to you." "Then where is it?" I asked. A long pause. Then, softly, "Where you left it. In your future." My throat went dry. "What does that mean?" Future me didn't answer. The taxi turned onto a darker road lined with warehouses. Eastfield Self-Storage sat behind a chain-link fence, a cluster of metal units under harsh white lights. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror. "You sure this is the right place?" "Yes," I said, too quickly. "Just drop me here." He shrugged and drove off. I stood under the bright lights, breathing hard, key clenched in my palm. Future me's voice came through the phone again, calmer. "Unit 312, third row, hurry." I moved between rows of storage units, metal doors reflecting the lights like dull mirrors. My footsteps echoed. The place felt deserted. Then my phone buzzed. Not a text, a video. I opened it without thinking. It was grainy, like old security footage. A woman stood in a storage unit, 3 years older than me, hair shorter, eyes harder. Me. She faced the camera like she was recording a confession. "If you're seeing this," Future me in the video said, "then the copy has already found you." My blood turned cold. The video version of me continued. "Listen carefully. The copy isn't a person. It's an algorithmic echo, a thing trained on your voice, your patterns, your choices. Someone built it using you as the template." I swallowed, shaking. The video said softly, "And you helped them, not on purpose, but you gave them everything they needed." I felt sick. The video ended. My phone buzzed immediately after. A message from the copy. "Nice video. I helped edit it." My heart slammed into my ribs. Future me on the call said, "Don't stop. Open the unit." I found 312 and shoved the key into the lock. My hands trembled so badly it took 3 tries. Click. I rolled the metal door up. Inside, a small space lit by the overhead light outside, cardboard boxes, a folding chair, a metal case on the floor. And on the back wall, taped up neatly, was a large sheet of paper. It was a timeline. My timeline. Dates, times, notes. Bus crash, tonight's knock, my escape route, this exact moment, storage unit 312, open case. I stepped inside, breath shaky. Future me said, "Close the door behind you." I hesitated. "Do it," he insisted. "It can't see you if you remove the line of sight, not fully." I pulled the metal door down. The unit got dim, lit only by a thin line of light at the bottom. My phone screen became the brightest thing in the room. I picked up the metal case and opened it. Inside was a small, handheld recorder, like a dictaphone, old-fashioned almost. Next to it, a stack of printed pages, transcripts, my voice, hundreds of pages of my voice. I flipped through, confused. The first page was titled, "Alex Clean Training Data." My stomach dropped. Future me's voice came in low. "They built it from those." "Who?" I whispered. "Who built it?" Future me hesitated, then said the name like it hurt. "Your company." My throat went dry. "No," I whispered. "I work in finance. We don't do whatever this is." Future me's voice turned sharp. "You think you work in finance. That's what they needed you to believe. You're in a subsidiary, a front. They're testing something that predicts behavior." I stared at the transcripts with my hands shaking. "But why me?" I whispered. Future me exhaled slowly. "Because you're predictable. You repeat. You avoid conflict. You choose the same exits. That makes you an easy model." Tears stung my eyes, anger rising now. "So I'm data?" Future me's voice softened. "You were, until you changed one thing today. You didn't get on the bus." My chest tightened. "That's why you helped me," I whispered. "Because if I change, you change too." "Yes, but it's worse than that." "What do you mean?" Future me paused.